Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, because seriously, the people who say this are the ones that are beautiful. And so those of you who rally around and gather around and ride around to protest me and try to simulate the feeling of being rejected by God, the whole community, because I have a tiny little tooth gap, just know that there is no beauty within you. All right, so Meghan Markle, Prince Harry's wife, she has a tooth gap. Can you believe they made her get rid of that? That is super sweet. I love it. I had a dream last night that I was at the doctor's office and that I got sick. Some broccoli had made me sick. I had a broccoli overdose. Good morning, handsome husband. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. All right, so if you can tell, if you can notice, like I was saying, the enemy is lurking around every corner. Now, lurking is not the official name. Lurking is not what you would call this. Lurking is not what the government calls it. Lurking is not what the scientist calls it. Lurking is not what the doctor or the psychologist is going to call it. This is called hoovering. This is called a narcissistic hoover maneuver. All right, so lurking is not what the enemy is going to call this. Lurking is what we call it when we're on the streets. Lurking is just the street slang term. So the clinic, the doctor, the physician, they're not going to call this, the scientist, whoever it is, the psychologist, they're not going to call this lurking. So this is actually technically called hoovering. The reason why it's important to mention is because when they go to talk about UFO encounters, usually they say the UFO is doing what? Is reported doing what? Hoovering. Is it not hoovering in all of these reports on YouTube when they talk about UFOs? This is a cover story for this psyop right here. All of this UFO mess is a cover for sexual exploitation. Remote sexual exploitation. This ufology and all of these alien encounters that you see in the algorithm, that you see in the disclosure files on Prime, on YouTube, wherever it is, the documentaries that they make, that entertainment that is repackaged and then sold online and otherwise, in those documentaries, that is a cover story. That is the official cover story for this psyop right here. And this is all sexual exploitation. And because I do identify as a woman, this is all a sex crime. A sexually motivated hate crime. So, I don't know. So, we'll see. So, anyways, I know they get all mad when I call myself queen. It all wants to institutionalize me just for having my period. You know, it's super, super sexist like that. So, like I was saying, this is not technically called lurking. This is called hoovering. You can look it up on YouTube, a narcissistic hoover. And it's actually a weapon that our government uses when dealing with terrorism. Can you believe that I am on the CIA's hit list as a terrorist because somebody is that jealous of me? Can you believe that? Can you believe that somebody put me on the CIA's hit list and reported me as a terrorist legitimately. And this is why I'm being gang stalked. And they did that because they got that jealous. Woo! These rich people are so biased. It's all rules for thee, but not for me. Imagine if I was that jealous of these things and they'd all just be on the hit list. They would have been gone already. There would have been no game, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, gone in a way where, they're going to get help. Not dead, but dead in the sense that they're no longer the person that they are doing this mess right here. And this system says that they're going to help them. Y'all believe that? No. One of the things I wanted to say too, just really interesting, because I'm going to be going over a new show coming up. I've been wanting to do it, but I've been so distracted with all of this. So I'm getting derailed, and you can tell. So it's got me behind like a week on my program. So hopefully I can catch up this week. So we'll see. But one of the things that I'm talking about going forward this week on the program is going to be the fake voices, and not the voice to school, although it does have some relation to that. But the fake voices in Hollywood and the voiceover, how I never knew this until recently. And if I never knew this and I sing, then I'm sure you probably never knew this. But when you realize that they're actually using a voiceover in all of their concerts, in all of their YouTube videos, on Vivo, everywhere you see them, that's actually a voiceover. It's very rare that you'll ever hear them performing live, for reals. And then in the event that you do hear them performing live, it's very obvious because they sound very different. I never practice. The songs that you hear me singing are always done on the first run, on the first try. I don't sit down and I don't perform that in front of a mirror 100 times before I get into the mood to do it for, Facebook or YouTube or whatever it is for that matter. I don't practice, and because I don't sit down and practice enough, I can't do it from start to finish like perfection. So what you're actually hearing when you hear me singing, and part of the reason why it sounds like it doesn't sound good sometimes is because it's raw, it's natural, it's real, and I don't practice it. It's on the first run each and every time you've ever heard me sing or perform ever. That was the way it came out the first time. And so pretty good considering the facts. And so in any case, Hollywood celebrities, the way that their music industry is online with social media now as well, these are all pre-records, kind of like a pre-roll joint. No, I'm just kidding. But they're pre-records. They've all been pre-recorded, and I didn't even know this, so I feel like an idiot. But I'm sure there's a lot of things that I don't know. So I felt like I sucked really bad for a long time. And I feel like a lot of people probably thought the same thing about me, because what you're hearing is zero practice, first run, and all of the imperfections. Like, of course, I'm a human being, so I have stage fright. I get a little bit of anxiety. I get nervous. I'm human. It's natural. It's natural for human beings to feel nerves. But I've noticed that it's worse when it comes to singing for some reason, or maybe even speaking. People get really nervous just talking. So can you imagine how nervous I could possibly get, or I probably get, singing? If people get nervous just simply talking and they fumble their words, it happens all the time. It's normal. then can you imagine singing? It's different, because then you get a lot of anxiety, especially with programs that are trying to depopulate you. So anxiety was never really a big issue in my life as a performer. As a child, I do not recall ever having anxiety. One of the things that I really admire about my foster mother, Tammy, is that she put me in the air to fly as a cheerleader. Because of my size, I made the perfect flyer. And not only did she put me in the air to fly, but she never let anybody drop me. So I never got injured. And so anyways, I did a lot of performing as a child. I don't remember being anxious. I don't remember having anxiety. This developed later after technology, okay? For me, personally. And so now I have it. Anyways. So, big revelation, their voice is all fake. I would even probably say in the movies it's probably fake as well. It might be a pre-record that that they did in a studio somewhere. Who knows? I'm just saying. Their birthdays are fake, so they're not real Libras, okay? They're probably not real Libras. Let's be completely honest. Their names are fake. Their birthdays are fake. And their whole identity is fake. Everything that they do is fake. And if you were to hear them sing first time around, they usually don't sound like that as good as they do after all of the tweaks, all of the perfection, all of the filtering and the refining done in the studio. So, I don't use a mic. I generally don't use technology. I'm very natural in my approach when it comes to my talent and what I've been gifted from the good Lord. So there's not any refining. There is no perfecting. There's no practice. Sure, I sing all the time, but there's not any given situation or time where I'm sitting down, and I really don't have the time to do this, and singing the same song, 100 times in a day, and then getting on here and singing it like that, a week later or whatever. I can imagine in that case, I would probably remember the words a lot better than I do, because I always forget, and then, probably sound a lot better. I don't know. I have never tried. Maybe I should. So Meghan Markle, another one of the things I wanted to go over and talk about. Meghan Markle. The entire community was recruited to try to make me feel like I was Chris Rock that just got slapped by Will Smith. And this is like an ongoing, reoccurring thing. And I know, I get it. It's funny. I get it. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, it's really funny. I laugh all the time. Actually, I got recruited into Barbizon. And this is all facts. You can't make this stuff up. Because they liked my tooth gap and said my tooth gap gave me character. So now the enemy is going to try to abuse me and call that a character or a personality disorder, a split personality disorder. Yeah, right. So anyways, it's because of the abuse that I'm reactive, and I'm learning to respond and not react. There is a difference, and the therapist will tell you that as well. I'll save you time and money. Don't go. That's what they're going to tell you. Do some breathing exercises, and that doesn't mean smoke or, do other things. Huff. Breathing exercises, and you have to learn to respond and not react to the narcissist, okay? So anyways, saved you a lot of time and money there. So Barbizon recruited me into the modeling field actually because of the tooth gap. So in any case, I was 14 at the time. So times have definitely changed with all of this plastic surgery and what have you. Superficial lifestyles thanks to Hollywood and their influence. So in any case, like I was saying, Meghan Markle has a tooth gap. The entire community was recruited to make me feel like I was being rejected by God. How funny for having one. And that's exactly the way God made me. That's how I know we don't worship the same God. What? We're not praying to the same God. Like, what? It's a synthetic voice of God technology by omniscience. You guys, come on.